want to send some love to all my sisters out there in Chicago, in Virginia, North Carolina, DC, Philly. All my sisters, I just want to send some love out to y'all. And this is for the sisters. So, my sister wanted me to speak on sisterhood. And sisterhood is a very, very important part of our lives as black women. If we had been born in ancient times, then we would have our own peer group, that we were born around the same time, we go through the rites of passage together, we get married around the same time, we have our babies around the same time, and this is the core group that we would grow and live with. We would raise our children together, they would play together, we cook our meals together, we do our little crafts and arts and hang out and all those beautiful things that we love to do. Living here in this society, we miss that, but we can recreate that for ourselves. We can learn to build our sisterhood and build our trust and confidence in each other as black women, so that we can function in that beautiful and divine way. It would give strength to ourselves, to our families, to our community, and it's positive. So we're going to first talk about some of the issues that we have as black women, and then also look at some of the solutions. So we know that trust, I would say, is the main thing that I've heard my sister speak about. We have a hard time trusting each other. And this is something, back in the times of slavery, then we would kind of pit against each other, the house women against the field women, and so on and so forth, and light skin against dark skin. Those kind of prejudice attitudes, they still prevail today. We still have problems. I know as a natural sister, I have sometimes have some attitude and issues from the sisters who are not natural, and I can't understand it, but it is real, and it is real. So one thing that we really have to think about, two things I mentioned so far: the trust issue and the whole prejudice competition type vibe. With the trust, a lot of times that comes from us sharing with each other, sharing secrets, sharing stories about our lives and with another sister, and then those stories, that information is then in turn shared with others who we know or ones we may not know. And this kind of thing definitely will cause a lack of trust between the sisters. It's definitely very hurtful to share some secrets with one and then they share them all over town. That's not cool. We don't want to do that. It's very hurtful. So that's something that we can stop right away. Just learning to be in confidence when we speak to each other. Learning, because everyone needs to have at least one person that they could just share all of their heart with and know that it's not going to go any further. So being a friend, being a sister is being that, being able to hold someone else's conversation, someone else's life stories to yourself and not share them with everyone. Trust also comes up when it comes to relationships. I know when I was coming up, it was taboo for a woman to deal with her friend's man, or vice versa, dealing with your boyfriend's friend. That kind of business was seen as nasty. You don't want to, that's just too close. And I know nowadays we have the songs and all of these movies and different things that promote this kind of behavior, but it is done to bring destruction to our families and to our community. And when we act in this way, because usually, they have these songs about don't bring your girlfriend around me, because, all this kind of business is not my art. It's not healthy in any form or fashion. So that's something another thing for us to consider. The whole idea of the prejudice and just looking at a sister and decide you want to have an attitude because of the way she looks, that usually comes from someone not having peace within themselves and how they look and how they feel about themselves. And so they want to share this negative attitude with others because they don't feel good about themselves. Now, when it comes to these kind of situations, then someone has to be big enough to not have an attitude. Usually we see a bitch attitude can bring out another bitch attitude, and then it's a big commotion. And it doesn't have to be that. We don't have to assume that role. We're not animals. We are high spirit beings and should act in this way. So having that kind of attitude with each other, we could just cut that. Just be more compassionate, be more kind. You don't know somebody when you first see them. There's no reason to give them attitude. And then for those who receive it, sometimes you got to also realize that these people can be very hurt, can be going through stuff that you can't imagine, and that's why they're carrying this chip on their shoulder. That's why they're giving you attitude. It's got nothing to do with you. It could just be their own stuff, and they don't know how to deal with it, and they just share it with everyone they come in contact with because of their hurt. So sometimes you just got to look and say, well, I'm not even going to feed into that because it's unnecessary. Another issue that we have to deal with in our community is jealousy and envy. These are some lower vibration emotions that we deal with as black women. That she thinks she cute, she thinks she this, she thinks she that type attitude, which when people look at someone, they just see the outside. They have no idea what's going on with that person on the inside. They don't have any idea. It looks like they have all these things, and you really don't know what people are dealing with. So having a jealous attitude towards somebody is just very immature, and something that as women we should be able to overcome and just be thankful for the things that we have, and not look and compare ourselves to what other people have, what our other sisters have, or what they look like, and all of these kind of things. We don't have to do that. Just be at peace with yourself, be thankful for the gifts that God gave you, and move forward with that. We also have an issue of holding grudges. Everybody, when we have relationships and deal with people, we make mistakes. Sometimes we say things we shouldn't say. Sometimes we do things we shouldn't do. But the thing is to rise above those mistakes and not hold a grudge. Apologize if you are in the wrong. Forgive if you are not in the wrong, if you are the one who has been violated. Have a spirit of forgiveness and know that people are dealing with a lot of things, and sometimes they come at you in a way because of their own hurt, and you don't have to add more hurt to that. So don't hold grudges. Have some forgiveness for your sisters, and then treat people like you want to be treated. You will not be judged by what other people do to you, but you will be judged by what you do to others. So if you want a good friendship, you want a sisterhood, then you have to be a sister. You have to be a friend. You have to show love, compassion, trust, honesty, and all of the things that build a good relationship. That is very important. Treating people like you want them to treat you, or like you want to be treated. And some ideas to build sisterhood, I would say, have some moon celebrations. Gather your friends, your sisters up, your acquaintances up, and invite them over and do some nice rituals celebrating the moon, which is representing the energy of the divine feminine power. And so when you gather at those moon times, then the power of the woman becomes stronger, and you coming together praying, dancing, singing, however way you choose to celebrate, will add power to your sisterhood. And you can also have a girls' night. Just have some time set aside. I know it's a few groups all over different places who have girls' night. They have certain activities that they set up, gather up all their friends, sisters, friends, acquaintances, and whatnot, and bring them together to do a specific thing. Go out to dinner, or go to a sauna, or go to a certain park, or whatever. Having these certain activities just for the sisters definitely is a way to build the sisterhood. Also, being considerate of your sisters, thinking about the fact that if you know a sister who has several children and you only have one, then sometimes you can invite her children to come and spend time with you and yours. Give her a break, have some consideration. You know what's going on in your friends' lives, and sometimes we all need help. So if we have ones who step up to say, well, let me just do this without having to ask for it. That is always a blessing, because I know as a single mother, sometimes it can be very overwhelming, and you also can get in a place that you don't even want to ask for help all the time, but you need it. And so as sisters, that's something that, when we have children, the children are supposed to be raised by the village. And that means that not all of the raising should be done by the parents. That means the extended family should contribute. And sisters can definitely be some support to their sisters and their children in helping to reinforce ideas and discipline and sharing creative ideas in all different kind of ways. So that's also another good way to build the sisterhood. And just staying in peace, giving your sister a call to check on her. I have certain sisters that I don't speak to all the time. I might speak to once or twice a year, and but when we do speak, it's like we just pick up right where we left off before. And sometimes I do try to reach out a little bit more. I'm quite busy, but I do know it's important to stay connected with my sisters, so I try to reach out, call them, send them a little message on the Facebook, how you doing, just to show that I am concerned, show my love, and that kind of thing. It goes a long way. You never know what a person might be dealing with on a day that you send a love and peace message. It could really lift their spirits, and doing that a little bit more is always good. And then the last thing I really wanted to mention is about keeping your word, because I know that is something that is important, not just for sisters, but for us as a people. It used to be the saying, word is bond, and that was like saying, what I'm saying to you, I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. And so when you set things to do with your sisters and then break your word, that can cause some disharmony, some mistrust, and things like that. People feel like they can't depend on you if you constantly changing your mind. So that's not cool. We want to try to address that kind of thing as well. Just being more honest, more compassionate, more loving, considerate, trusting, and one who can be trusted. All of these things are positive ways. Being spiritual and encouraging spirituality, encouraging ones to really live in a positive way is always good. Some of our sisters might not have as much knowledge as we do, so when we share knowledge with them, that's healing, that's showing love, that's bringing the sister up. Those are the kind of things that we want to see happening. I do want to salute. I have seen quite a bit more of my sisters out there putting videos out and doing their radio shows and all these positive, beautiful things. So I salute y'all sisters who are doing y'all things, and it is very encouraging to see it happening. Then we know that changes are happening in our community, and we know that we are moving forward in healing light, and that's beautiful. So much love and blessings to you all. Until the next time. Peace.